who's also the host of a show called Beautiful Now Project. And he's going to introduce you to the panelists. So we're going to do a quick setup before, and here, that's the setup.
Hello, everyone. Can you see me out there? I think we're doing great. We got to do some social distancing and some mask wearing, right? We taking care of each other out there. Got to make sure we're doing that. Important, right? Had to do that first. And now, since we're all social distancing together, yeah. Well, as Louis said, my name is Derrick Floyd, and I'm the training specialist and product specialist here at IK Multimedia. We've been a great fan with Louis over the Music Expos for many years, and we're excited to bring you some actual content about live streaming and podcasting. All of us know we've been really diving into this thing for a long time. There's so much happening in the world that you can't get out and travel around. So this is a great topic to really be able to make relevant for you if you're a musician, a songwriter, a singer, whatever you do in your world. You're at home mom. You can use live streaming and podcasts as a new thing for you, no matter what you're doing. And we've got some great special guests to kind of walk through different parts of what that can mean for you. One of the guests we have is Bobby Balow. Bobby, you there, buddy?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Derrick.
He's an incredible mixing engineer who's going to talk to you about what it means to take your podcast and put it into another platform like Instagram or Facebook, and how to maximize the power of that. And then we've got Karen Allen, who's written a book about Twitch for musicians. Karen, you there?
I'm here. Hey.
Awesome, Karen. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having you here. We're so excited. And we've got another special guest who couldn't presently be here. He's actually on a plane, believe it or not. And his name is Robert Venable. But he's got a video he's going to leave for us talking about how to grassroots build your campaign from start to finish. So we've got a lot of things to cover in 90 minutes. We're going to do a full 360. And we're going to start off with a little bit about technical things, the setup side of things. What do you actually need to build a live stream or a podcast? Louis, can you show him that for me?
Now, it seems to me that everybody wants to do a live stream or a YouTube channel these days. We all want to be YouTube famous, TikTok stars, you know? And there's always a video of some type for everybody, from beauty to travel to music, you name it, it's all out there. But before you start your own YouTube channel and start calling all your friends and families to sub to your channel, you might want to get a few specific components to help you build the right channel with the best quality for your budget. And today we're going to break down a few specific setups, a basic, an intermediate, and an advanced, all based on your dollars and your bang, the budget, so to speak. And at the end of the day, you'll have a great quality podcast that you can be proud of, and you can actually tell those friends to sub to. Now get your pad and paper out, get ready to take some notes, and let's dive into what you need to build the perfect podcast or live stream. Now, do you remember the phrase lights, camera, action? Well, that phrase is actually exactly what you're going to need to build your perfect live stream or podcast. Let's unpack that a little. You're definitely going to need component number one, which is a camera. You've got to be able to have something to capture the visual for your subscriber or person on the other end of your live stream. So a great camera is super vital to what you're going to see on the screen. Now, a lot of us are using smartphones, which are amazing these days. The iPhones and Samsung Androids have amazing lenses on them, so you get great quality there. But you gotta get, eventually, if you want to go to the top notch, you'll end up looking at an actual DSLR or mirrorless camera. And there's so many of those to choose from, it'll take another video to go through that. But just realize your camera is one of the most vital pieces to how they see what you see on the other end. Component number one is a camera. Component number two is lighting. Now, this is probably the most underrated, overlooked, but super vital part of your content because you can do just about anything through lighting. And if your lighting is poor, it'll mess up the entire shot. And if you do your lighting right in the beginning, it saves you tons of editing time on the other end when you're trying to get your video together. So lighting is super important along with the visual to make sure you capture the right shot the right way the first time. And there's tons of great ways to get good lighting, which we'll cover later on in the video. But lighting, super important, component number two, for sure. Now, after you get components one and two, your lighting and your camera set and the shot looks great, you're going to have to hear it, right? Which brings you to component number three, which is audio or sound. Now, if you get a great shot but the audio is garbage, no one wants to listen to your podcast or your live stream. So you got to make sure you get a great microphone and your sound is clear. So sound is definitely a vital component to your live stream or your podcast. And we'll talk about a bunch of options later on in the video. But just remember, You got to have great sound. It's important. And we've covered lights, camera, and of course a little bit of the sound. But now, what about action? Well, action would be like editing. You've got to be able to put that particular content into something where you can make it look a little better, shine it up, polish it almost. And editing is the last and final piece or the fourth component to your final live stream or podcast. Now, if you're on a phone, you may be editing on your phone with maybe iMovie or something like that. But if you're on your computer, maybe having Final Cut Pro, something like that, another software application. Either way, you're going to have to edit that application or edit that data so that it looks good for your live stream or podcast. So remember, editing is your final part or your final tool, and you want to get a good way or a good piece of software or something that you're used to using to edit with. Something that's comfortable, something that flows the way you think. You don't have to get the most expensive thing to edit with. Get what makes you feel comfortable and creative. That way you'll do a better job on your final product. So fourth component is an editing tool. Definitely most important at the end of the day. Now your basic setup is going to be around under $200. And that's because we're able to use your smartphone, your iPhone, or your Android as the camera. We've all seen the cameras take a large leap in quality these days, and the lenses and cameras on these are quite incredible. They can shoot great quality videos, slow-mo, things like that with aperture, so on, all on your smartphone. So it has become a great camera for quick use, for mobile, and of course for live stream and podcasting. Now, if you want to be a little bit deeper and get more functionality from your lenses on your phone, there's apps that you can add, free and paid, to give you more control. Now, for lighting and audio on a budget or your basic setup, IK Multimedia offers two solutions to help out. The first one is the iRig Video Creator Bundle, and this adds in an actual lavalier that clips on your clothing, a small microphone. It gives you a ring light, which is the lights that illuminate your face for Zoom calls and Skype calls as well. And it gives you a small mini tripod which you can hold your phone on, which you can actually have a Bluetooth shutter as well to be able to hit start, hit stop when you want to do your actual shots. So this is a great solution for you if you only have $100 or so and you're just starting out, just experimenting with podcasting itself. You can take one more layer and get the iRig Video Creator HD bundle for $200, and that adds in an actual handheld microphone with better quality, so you can actually interview someone or put it in front of you for a little bit better sound quality. You get a larger ring light, so you get more illumination, more color there. And of course, you get the iClip Pro with the Bluetooth shutter to be able to hit that record and off button. Again, for under $200, you've got a great bundle here. You've got your smartphone as your camera. You've got the ring light from the iRig Creator Bundle. You've got your microphone and your tripod all together for you. So if you're just starting out and you don't want to sink too much in just to test the water, this basic setup is going to get you just where you need to be with pretty good quality and pretty good sound. Take a look at it. I think you'll be surprised. And to edit that video as your fourth component, your editing tools, Apple offers iMovie, which is right there, super easy and free for you with lots of great functionality, believe it or not. So you've got everything you need to get that first live stream or podcast all built without spending a ton and breaking the bank. Now let's take a look at the intermediate setup, which is around $700 or so. We're going to stick with your phone as the camera because of the great lenses that it offers, the great power that it has. But we're going to step up our game a bit and actually add some paid apps to your phone that give you extreme control over the camera lenses. The one that I use myself is called Pro Camera, and it's around $10 to start. If you fully load the actual application with lots of effects and controls, it's actually $50. It makes your camera on your phone almost like a DSLR, giving you speed, giving you aperture, giving you frame rate, all the things you need to be able to really focus on and get a great shot. It adds this to your phone. So I recommend it if you've got just a little bit more dollars to spend. Now that you've got your phone dialed in, it's a great camera, it's time to get the room lit up, of course with great lights. And I found a super portable but super powerful light that does a great job of illuminating a larger space. And it's called a Lume Cube, and it's around $59. This actually lets you change the temperature of the light from warm to bright to cold, and you can give it more power or more emphasis to get it even brighter. This little light of mine definitely is going to let it shine, a little joke there, but it does do a great job of illuminating just about any space. You can put it on the actually iClip Pro, that you can slap it there. You can attach it to anything and have it be able to shine on side of your laptop for Zoom meetings, Skype calls, you name it. This light can get it done. So I definitely recommend it because it's super portable but super powerful. And as you're running around, if you want to do it in a studio or in a live setting somewhere, you need something that you can put in your backpack, and this is a great one for a great price. Again, the Lume Cube, only $59.99. I think it's a great deal. Next up, you're going to need that great quality microphone. You're going to have great audio and sound, right? Well, IK steps up to the plate with this one, and we're going to talk about this microphone right here, the iRig Mic Studio. This is probably one of the most versatile microphones I've ever had in my mic closet because I can use it and plug it into almost anything. It comes with the cables that I can plug it into my Samsung or my iPhone or my Mac and my PC, so it goes into whatever I got in front of me. And it gives me a couple of applications that let me change the tonal character of the microphone. So I can make it sound like another microphone that has a different flavor or a different setup for someone who has a different voice. So that's a super great quality or a super great feature that I can add in that everything else can't do. And just so you know, the iRig Mic Studio is so versatile, you can put it in front of a voice, in front of an instrument, whatever you want to record or bring in, this microphone can take it. So it becomes kind of your utility microphone. Whatever you need, it can get it done. I make sure I have this in my bag wherever I go because I never know what I'm going to encounter. If I want to pick up something and put it on my live stream, I want to be able to get the right tonality of whatever that item is or whatever that person is, and iRig Mic Studio gives me that flexibility. Again, iRig Mic Studio, super versatile, super powerful, and can plug into anything. That's going to be your win in an intermediate setup. Now with your lighting in place, your audio and your video all set, you're going to need a place to edit that precious footage, right? Well, of course, component 4 is in place, and that's your editing tool. Now, you use the computer at this stage of the game when you're kind of semi-intermediate, and I suggest a great application called Adobe Premiere Elements. It's around $100, and it's the baby brother of the fuller version of Adobe Premiere. And it's going to give you a nice splattering of tools to start you off with, to kind of get your feet wet, if you will. Get into the editing frame of mind. There's lots of great things you can change, colors, textures, add effects in, so forth, blends, all kind of great things. So as I've said before, editing is the final part to your masterpiece, but this is going to give you a broader stroke, a better paintbrush to paint with to make your masterpiece shine anymore. So don't forget to get an editing tool in your intermediate setup. Under $700, this one comes in at around $100. I think you'll like it. Okay, now we've covered two great setups that allow you to use your smartphone or leverage your smartphone as the camera. Just by adding a few other pieces to the setup, you have a pretty good working live stream or podcast setup. But now it's time to go pro. Are you ready? Let's take a look at what a professional setup might look like for around $2,000. And the first component, as always, is going to be that camera. But this time, you're going to get a physical DSLR or mirrorless camera. There are multiple cameras out there to choose from, and I've done a little bit of research, watched some videos, did some podcasts as well. And what I found, there's about 3 that stood out to me. The first one was the actual Panasonic Lumix, and then there was the Sony a6400. But I settled on the one that I'm using right now that you see me through, and that's the Canon M50, or the Nifty 50 they call it. I really enjoyed this camera for a couple of reasons. Number one, all the controls that I needed to were on the front screen. I could get to them right away, like aperture and frame rate and the speed, the shutter speed. All that stuff was right there instead of me digging menu after menu after menu. I like that. The other thing I liked was that it had a USB out port, so I could plug it right into my computer and be able to go right live into an application like OBS, or even go live on Restream, something like that. I didn't have to do any other craziness, just plug it in and it worked. The third thing I liked about it was the Bluetooth setup, or the camera app on my phone. I could launch the Connect camera app and be able to control all the same functions from the screen on my phone, so I could be able to do it remotely. That gave me a lot of flexibility moving around the room. Super important for me as I'm shooting different spaces with different people. And if I'm the one in the shot, I have to control it from where I am, so I can't get up and do it from there. This was a great function for me, super important. There's lots of other great features I could cover about the Canon, but this isn't a Canon video. This is about podcasting and streaming. Just know that this camera is around $600, and if you want to get more content, just take a look and type in Canon M50 on YouTube. There's tons of videos that walk you through what this camera can do. I think you'll dig it. Now, for a little extra credit, now that you've got your camera adjusted on a tripod, you can actually take another tripod and put your smartphone on that to have another second angle in your shot. 2 cameras, right? I've used it quite a bit, and it does make a really big difference to have another angle to shoot from. So extra credit, extra camera, and your phone. It works. Now, once you've got your camera on the tripod and you kind of got the angle and the shot figured out, the next step, and most vital but underrated, remember we talked about, is the lighting. Everybody knows good lighting can make or break a shot. So if you now want to step up to the pro level, it's time to make a look at maybe some softbox lighting, the ones that have the kind of umbrella out thing. These are bigger lights that you can change the temperature again, but they cover a wider array or wider range of light. You can put them in different angles for the room to give cast shadows. You can put them in different textures, so on. So it really becomes actually playing with the lights a bit. And I think if you spend some time kind of just experimenting, you'll find that lighting is pretty cool. You can create some pretty incredible effects with lighting. So make sure you take the time to get the right lights on some tripod stands, play around a little bit, see what looks good, see what doesn't look good, but make sure that the lighting is right. Again, if you get the lighting right on the front end of your video or your content, there'll be less editing in the end. So make sure you get the right lights in the right way for the right angle and the right shot. You'll be glad that you did. And good lighting doesn't have to cost a lot. The lights that I purchased are around $100 to $150, but I have 3 or 4 different lights at different angles to give me lots of different shades, lots of different angles to shoot from. Don't forget about that lighting. Underrated, but definitely needed in every shot. Okay, now your visual mood is set and you've got the angle and the shadows just right. Your lighting looks good. It's now time to make sure that the audio is exactly clear and pristine. Now there's lots of great options out here for this particular part, and I've seen a lot and tried a lot. But the one that I found the most intriguing and the most flexible and actually the best sounding, believe it or not, was the easy to use and portable Rode Rodecaster production station. This is truly an amazing marvel, and it's built with the podcaster in mind. It gives you actually 4 inputs or 4 Class A mic pre's, which you can plug in your condenser microphones or whatever microphones you have right inside. So you can have up to 4 people talking at the same time. Pretty good podcast there. And then it gives you 4 headphone outputs, so each person talking can be hearing their own monitor, which again is amazing. It gives you some pads on the right where you can be able to where you can program effects and drops and stuff like that, all kind of nifty things. And again, it's so portable you can throw it in your backpack and take it with you. It gives you a USB out that you plug right into your computer to take that audio right into your application like OBS or whatever you're recording with. So the Rodecaster Production Studio is a must-have. It's around $5.99, but it's a well spend, and it's going to make sure you get the best quality audio for your production. After a while, you've got the camera, you've got the lighting, why not have the action? This is the one that most of the podcasters have seen, so I recommend it for sure. Now that you've got your camera, your lights, and your mini console all set to go, your next vital piece to the puzzle is, of course, a microphone. Now, we've talked about the Derrick Mic Studio being incredibly versatile, and you still can use it with the Rodecaster production station. But if you want to take it to that broadcast level, if you want to be where the pros have landed, you might look at the Shure SM7B. This is a broadcast legend that's been in many studios, many live streams, many podcasts across the country, across the world for that matter. It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone that lets you have a breadth of tonal quality. You have bass roll-off switches, and you have a medium presence switch that gives you more when you have to kind of carve out a different kind of voice. So almost every kind of voice will fit the SM7B. It's been around for so long because it has been a tested microphone through and through, and broadcasters around the world swear by it. Now it's $3.99, so it's into your budget, but it's definitely worth the spend if you plan on being a professional for a long period of time. This microphone lasts a long time, the quality will always be there, and you'll always make sure that you'll have the best sound for any voice that comes in front of your microphone if you use an SM7B. So we've taken you through all the components. You've got the camera, you've got the lights, you've got the console, and the microphone. As usual though, lights, camera, action. The last part is your editing tools. And now that you're professional, you want to have the best tools that fit your needs, that fit how you think. And there are 2 actual platforms that come to mind. The first one is Final Cut Pro, which is a Mac application only. This is the application that I use to cut and edit all my content, and it just works how I think. Lots of editing features, lots of control, lots of flexibility. I can separate audio, put effects in, all kind of streams, all kind of slides, all kind of effects that can be done right inside the application. I wouldn't let any of my video out of my studio without going through Final Cut Pro, and it's around $3.99. Now you also can go to Adobe Premiere. Well, we talked about Premiere Elements in the medium section or the intermediate setup. If you want to go all the way pro, there's a full version of Adobe Premiere that's around $5.99. Giving you more flexibility, more control, more colors, more textures, more things you can do that you couldn't do on your phone or even on your iPad. So I recommend if you're going to take it to the next level, make sure you have the tools to truly edit your video, your content, your precious masterpiece the best way you can. And these tools will help you get it done and professionally look at the end, especially as you export this information out. You want to have a way to save that and be able to export it and upload it to other parts like your YouTube channel, your Instagram channel, and so on. Adobe Premiere around $5.99, Final Cut Pro around $3.99. definitely have to choose one or something like it to make sure you finish off your masterpiece. Now I've shown you the basic setups, the intermediate setups, the professional setups, and we've talked about the four components of every live stream: camera, lights, audio, and editing. You've seen it all. Now it's your turn to decide which one fits your budget, which one fits your needs. All of them will give you great quality, but it all depends on where you're starting at. But don't feel bad if you start with the basic. Get your feet wet. Figure out what you're going to do. Call those friends and family. Let everybody know you're starting a live stream. But take your time and find the one that fits your needs. There's no wrong answer here. I hope you've enjoyed the content today, hanging out in the IK Multimedia Garage, the music garage, that is. And we hope to see you soon on YouTube or a live stream or a podcast.
And yes, we hope to see you out there with your live stream or your podcast. We hope that content was great for you and you got a lot of information. We tried to cram a lot of that in there in a small time. So we hope you got as much as you could and you took a lot of notes to make sure that you could get it all down again. If you didn't, go back and watch it again when you can. There's lots of vital information in there. But what I'm going to do now is once you've built your technical space, so to speak, and you've got everything you need to make your live stream happen, you need to go and figure out, where do I put this content? How do I put it out there on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, or how do I maximize those platforms? And we've got Bobby Balow to talk about that. Bobby, you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Derrick. All right. So, yeah, first of all, I'm super excited to be here. I'm, as Derrick said, I'm Bobby Balow, the owner of Raytown Productions, which is an online mixing and mastering studio. I have a weekly live show on there. So, live streaming is something I love talking about. My talk today is going to cover 3 different topics to help you get going on your live stream. So, the first one is going to be, what software do you need to use to actually go live, right? A lot of people just use your phone or a webcam, but we're going to go a little bit deeper and show you how to use something called OBS. We'll get into that in a second. Second point I want to cover is what platforms are best for live streaming. There's a lot out there, so I'm going to cover the top 3. And finally, we're going to talk about what to do after you go live. So you're all done. You think that your job's done, but it's not, and we're going to dive into that. So with that, I'm going to get rolling. So first of all, what software should you be using to go live? There's a free software available. It's called Open Broadcaster Software. It's OBS for short. Sure, some of you have probably heard about this. You can just go and download. It's cross-platform, easy to set up, and it's really powerful. And so I think we're actually using that on the back end. If Louis can confirm that. So there's also a modified version of OBS. It's called Streamlabs OBS. It's a little bit different. So if you want to try to find it, that might come up. That's geared more for Twitch. Okay, so they have extra features in there to help with that platform, but it can make it a little bit more complex. So I would just recommend sticking with OBS. Okay. So the most popular platforms right now for live streaming seem to be YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Okay. Instagram, as far as I know right now, doesn't really have the mechanism to go live through something like OBS. That you're gonna have to use your phone. So I would just stick to those top 3. And something I want to point out is that each platform is different. Okay. So Facebook is kind of like a highway, essentially. You have statistically 3 seconds to capture someone's attention, or they're gone. You know, people on Facebook are there to check their notifications, see if they got any messages, and maybe scroll their live feed for like a cat video or something, and then they're out. So if you pop up, you better be captivating within 3 seconds. So make sure you know what you're going to say right when you start your live stream, and you should be pretty good to go. YouTube is a little bit different. So YouTube is actually the second largest search engine, and a lot of people don't realize that. So people use YouTube to answer questions that they have or solve a problem. So if you're going to be focusing on YouTube and going live, you might want to think about solving someone's questions or approaching it in that direction. That way, you're going to have the best fit for that audience. Okay. And then Twitch is an entirely different beast. I'm going to leave that up to Karen because she's the expert. I will say though, it's highly engaging, and if you can captivate people and they subscribe to you, they will hang out with you all day. I've seen it myself personally. So it's pretty awesome. Something else I want to point out, if you're on a certain platform and you're live streaming and it doesn't seem to be gaining momentum, you might just have a mismatch in your content for that platform. So don't hesitate to try some of these other platforms and see how it works. Find something that's gaining more traction and double down there. You don't need a live stream on all platforms. That was a mistake that I've made personally. Focus on one, get an audience there, and then you can expand out later. Okay. So I want to talk about the software side of it. So I actually made a video for all of you that literally is going to walk you through how to set up OBS to go live on Facebook. And so if we could play that right now, that'd be perfect.
This is OBS. The bottom left corner, we have scenes, then we have sources, audio mixer, and then controls. Sources are basically anything you want to feed into OBS. So this is a microphone, your desktop. It can be webcams, DSLR cameras, everything that Derrick talked about would come in through the sources, okay? Scenes allow you to change rapidly between different layouts of these sources. For example, if you just have a camera, you might have a scene called camera, and then if you click that, it only displays your DSLR camera. That's how I have it set up. If you are doing a live performance or something and you typically take like an intermission, you can have a be right back scene, which then will load an image or social media or something and tell people that, you know, you're going to be back in 5 minutes, or there's a timer or something, okay? Or you can make like a welcome scene. And so these are just different ways to quickly change and rearrange the cameras and everything that the viewer is seeing. Okay, sources are going to be how we add everything in. So let's add a source. Just right click on it. You're going to go to add, and then you're going to select your source. Okay, so this can be anything from a picture that you have or an overlay, display capture, which basically captures everything on your monitor. I don't necessarily recommend this because all your notifications and things will pop up if you have this selected. A safer option is to do window capture. So if you have a program that you want to focus on capturing specifically, this is a good choice to use. Or if you have a camera or something else, you just choose video capture device. Okay, so in this case, I have a webcam that we can hook up. So let's just name it webcam. Okay, and here I am. It found me. So under device, this is going to have a list of all your webcams and any other type of like video that's feeding in. So if you have a DSLR and you're using some sort of like handy cam capture thing that's USB, that should pop up here as well. Okay, and all the default settings are fine. The image looks good. We're gonna hit OK. So if you don't see it and the little eyeball is on, you can right click on it, go to transform, and then center to screen. That doesn't work. Try stretch fit to screen. There it is. Okay, cool. So that just meant that this webcam was off to the side somewhere. So basically, we can arrange this, what's called a canvas, any way we want. So if we want to put the webcam to the side here, and then put a bunch of text here, we could do that. You could add a picture, a logo of your band, whatever. You could put links, whatever. You just add a source for all those things. So this is basically all you have to do. If we want to add another source, we can. So you would just, let's say if you had another microphone or you had another webcam for like a guitar player behind me or something, you would just come in here and repeat the process. So go to video capture device, pull that up. Or if you wanted, you could, if there's something on your computer you want to share or whatever, you just put it in here. Okay, so now let's go to the settings, and I'm going to give you guys some quick settings that'll get you up and running that work for pretty much all of the different platforms, including Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So let's go to settings. Everything on the general tab is fine. I've never had to change anything on here. You can go through it if you want, but the important ones are stream and then output, audio, and video. Okay, so on stream, this is what service you're streaming to. So if you want to stream to Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, you just choose which one you want. If you want to do what's called the multi-stream, which is a little bit more advanced, you can stream to a custom server or go to this is actually what I use is restream.io, and you make an account with them and they'll send it out to all the different streaming platforms. It's amazing. And then it also will aggregate all the chats and bring them in so you can see what people are saying in each platform. Basically, if you were to do something like, let's say Facebook, since that's what I'm going to focus on, you just have a default server and you're going to need to get a stream key. I will show you how to get that on Facebook shortly, okay? We go to the output tab. This is everything that's leaving OBS, okay? So streaming, we're going to list the number of audio tracks you want. Typically for live streaming, I just have one, okay? And so that's going to be the summation of all the different microphones that we set up here in our audio mixer and the sources. Encoder settings. This can be a little bit complicated, but usually you have two or a few choices. X264 is encoding done with your processor. And if you have something like NVIDIA or AMD and there's an H.264, that means that your video card will do the encoding, not the processor. So if you have a video card that's good enough to do it, I would recommend just finding the encoder that has H.264. That's going to make it a little bit easier for your computer to keep up with everything, okay? Because I have an ultra wide monitor, my output resolution is a little weird. Normally this would be 1920 by 1080. If you have like a 4K monitor or something like that, you're probably going to need to change it to 1920 by 1080, just so it's compatible with Facebook and all those other platforms. I know Twitch and YouTube allow you to stream at 4K, so that might be fine. If we're streaming at 1080p, I highly recommend 6,000 kilobits per second. That's going to give you nice high quality feed, and then have the rate control set to constant bit rate, CBR. There's a bunch of other choices. I find that all the streaming platforms want you to have this, okay? These are usually fine. If we go to recording, so if you want to record a copy of live stream while you're doing the streaming, you can. Again, here are just some basic settings. I use the same ones on the other page. I use higher audio than typical, so I'm at 256. You have a bunch of choices here. I recommend always staying above 128, and honestly, your sweet spot's probably 192. So that's what I would recommend, 192 for all your channels. I never mess with the replay buffer, and those settings should get you up and running. Okay, if we go to audio, this is the one that can be confusing to a lot of people. Sample rate is between 44.1 and 48. Either is fine. I think the streaming platforms typically want it at 44.1, but it really doesn't matter as far as I know. If something sounds like it's being slow, like you're talking slow motion, or your voice sounds like a chipmunk, come back and change it to the other one. That should fix that problem. Okay, so if we're musicians, we typically don't use our desktop audio unless we'll be maybe playing a song on the computer and then we want to capture that sound. In that case, then we would use something like this. Default typically works. Otherwise, you're going to want to find just whatever your main output setting is. So for me, it's speakers out. So then I would choose something like that. And then next, we just go to the mic auxiliary audio and add in all of our different microphones, okay? So I have an audio interface called RME UFX. So that's what I'm plugging my microphone into right now as we speak. And I have it plugged into input 9, okay? So then I'd go searching through all these different inputs and find input 9 of my interface, which is right here. And if the microphone is working, we'll see that this bar down here is moving around with my voice, okay? You want to hit apply to make sure that it's working, okay? Sometimes you want to have 2 microphones or 3 microphones, okay? So then you just keep adding them. So if I wanted to add in my webcam microphone, we can do that. It's right here. So it finds it for you automatically. You just have to sign it. So that's going to be now microphone auxiliary audio 3. We hit apply. And if we scroll down, oops, I have to close this. If we scroll down now, we see that mic auxiliary 3 is now live. Okay, so it's moving around. That's the audio coming right from my webcam. It probably sounds crazy. So we can mute that by pushing the speaker button. So now we're just hearing the microphone that I have. Now, all we need to do to actually get streaming at this point is to click the start recording button. So that's if you want to record the video directly to your computer to repurpose it, which I always do and I recommend doing that. You can click that first. Now we're recording. And then you're going to click start streaming. Okay. I have an error because we haven't set any of this stuff up. But if we go back to settings, we need to get the stream key. Okay. And so if we're going to go to Facebook, let me show you how to do that. Okay. So here's Facebook. I'm just going to show you where we need to go. So we're going to go to live video. This is going to take you to your creator studio, I believe. Okay. So you'll see on the left side, you can go live now, schedule live video, and upcoming live videos. You can choose to do the schedule live video, which I highly, highly recommend. That allows you to promote when you go live to your friends and your fans and everything, which is very beneficial, and it makes your live stream a lot more fun and engaging. But for today, I'm just going to show you how to do it from the Go Live Now tab. In this exact same process, you would just have to fill out all the information here. From the Go Live Now page, Facebook defaults usually to a webcam. Okay, so it'll say something like use camera. In this bottom corner here, you might see your webcam turn on. We don't want to use the camera. We want to use a stream key. Okay, and that stream key is right here. Okay, so you go to copy, get your stream key. Now we go back to OBS. Okay, and we're going to go to settings, stream, and we're going to paste our stream key, and now we're all set up. Okay, so now we're ready to roll with Facebook Live. We have the stream key entered. We just literally go to start streaming. So this is going to send the signal to Facebook. Okay, now we're not live yet, but see, you can see down here it's connecting. Here we go. That's the signal from OBS, right? We can click play, and this is a chance for you to check your live stream to make sure everything sounds okay. So if we click it, we can actually look at it right here. Okay, so that's me talking right now in real time, and if we want to hear what I'm saying, we just turn this volume up, and I can hear myself talking. So it sounds good to me. So when we're ready to go, we would just hit down here in the bottom left, go live, and we're ready to roll, okay?
Awesome. Okay. Wow, that went faster than I was expecting. Okay, so hopefully that video is taking you all the way from getting set up in OBS to streaming. Now your job's done, right? You're all done. You did your live show. Now you're rich and famous. Not really the case, unfortunately. I wish it worked that way.
Are you sure? Come on, big money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's so what we're gonna do now is you got to go back and do some legwork. You're going to be going to back to your post where you went live. Make sure that you're editing the title. Okay. So what happens is when you finish live streaming, people see that you went live, and a lot of times they're not going to watch it because they missed out on your live stream opportunity. So if you go back and change the title or the post to something like watch the replay, and then put something there that gives them incentive to watch it, it will really, really help engagement after your live stream. Super important. Do that on all the different platforms that you can. Be sure that when you're done, go back in, edit the post, and add any type of show notes that you have. So if something happened or something was mentioned on your live stream, put that in the description. Get people excited about it. Okay. Also, go back and make sure you're tagging and adding hashtags to the description so that it will come up in search for people on Facebook that are looking for video content or YouTube or whatever. Okay, a lot of times you don't have that set up, and you're missing out on a really good opportunity because you didn't tag it properly. And the last thing that's super important is please go back, and there's a trim function built into all these platforms. Adjust the start time of your video to align with when you're actually starting your live video. Usually there's anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds of like downtime when people are, getting their live stream going. And that downtime, if you're not doing something, they're gone, right? You have 3 seconds to get their attention. So trim it, get it to a point where it's engaging right away. And then when people come across and they want to watch the replay, it's exciting for them right off the bat. Okay. The next step is if you recorded your live stream, like I mentioned, you can repurpose it. And this is huge because this is off the bat, big chunk of content that you can use to help grow your following. So usually for my weekly live show, I can chop up, it's an hour long, I can chop up about 5 different pieces of content out of each one of those. So I don't have to sit and film all the time. You can use what you've already have. So just some things I want to mention, the different platforms like different length content that when you cut it up. Facebook, the ideal length is anywhere from like 30 to 90 seconds, right? The attention span is not there on Facebook. But on YouTube, you get away with doing something up to 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, so Facebook might be like outtakes or bloopers or something, whereas YouTube could be like a full song or, have a little bit more in-depth conversation about something. Okay. And I'm not sure what Twitch is. So that's all Karen. But the repurposing is super, super important. Okay. And so I just want to quickly run over 5 different common mistakes I see people making with their live streams. The first one is not being engaging. Okay. So you're live. People like live audio and live video because you can see and interact with somebody. Okay. So when someone makes a comment, say hi. If Chris from somewhere says hello, like say hi to Chris, like mention his name, make them feel special. Okay, they're spending their time with you, and if you can make that moment special, they'll keep coming back every week. Okay. The second mistake I see is not being consistent. Okay, so figure out a schedule for what works for you. Some people say you need a live stream every day or every week. If that doesn't work for you, you don't need to do that. If that needs to be every 2 weeks, then so be it. But make sure that you're on at the same time and the same day, and you're on when you say you're going to be on, because people will stop coming back if you miss 1 week. Okay, so make sure you're doing that. Number 3 is not promoting your live stream. So you can make events in Facebook. I think you could do it. You might not be able to do it in Twitch, but you can kind of tease them. And then YouTube, you can also make an event. So tell people about your live stream. Tell them that it's going to happen in 5 days or 7 days on Facebook. I think you can do it a week early. Put all the relevant information in there and then make posts about your live stream. It can be like behind the scenes footage of you setting up or preparing for something or just something. And then the day of, make sure you go to the actual event and make a comment on the event page, because anybody who has any interest in going is going to get a notification that there's a comment on that. And it's a little reminder for them to come back. Okay. Also make sure that you check your video and audio, right? I talked about it in the video. So you have no excuses for going live and not having any sound. Okay. So make sure you're checking that. And the last thing is make sure you're telling people to make sure you have a call to action for the people that are attending your live stream. So that can be something like, hey, thank you for coming. Be sure to subscribe if you are enjoying this. Give us a thumbs up. It helps people know that this is enjoyable or good content. Just, little reminders. You don't need to stop and interrupt a live stream to say these things, but just to mention it occasionally when you're interacting with people. Because people get caught up in the moment and they forget to hit that subscribe button, even if they really love your channel. So make sure to put little reminders out, but don't be too aggressive about it, right? It's a fun, engaging dialogue. So with that, that's all I have. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm going to turn it over now to Karen, who's going to take you guys into the lovely world that is Twitch.
Awesome. Bobby did an amazing job explaining everything. I was watching along. And we were having a whole side conversation about things, and so I would add one thing to what he said. So if you want to test your stream before you go live and get like a real authentic test, my little cheater method for that is to stream to YouTube and do an unlisted or private stream to your YouTube channel. And I let it roll for like 15 minutes. Like, do what you're going to do. Let's let it roll. If you have any problem early on, that problem with your technical problem is probably going to be cumulative over time. Like, if you're dropping a few frames in the beginning, you're going to be dropping a hell of frames in about 10, 15 minutes. So that's what I do. You can do a test stream on Twitch, but it won't actually hit your channel. It will only tell you how your OBS is performing. And I don't even know if you can do a test stream on Facebook without everybody seeing it. I don't even know. Bobby,
Just
do
that
you
little
know?
mini window, that preview thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but if you really want to see like how does this look, you could just record to your OBS. So that's just going to show you like how your audio and video sounds. But if you want to see how you're performing, then stream to YouTube, do an unlisted, and then watch it in the YouTube studio because YouTube will also tell you the quality of the stream as it's coming in. So it'll tell you if your connection sucks, and then you can work on it from there. So that's my little cheater way of doing it, and then delete the video, of course, when you're done. So that's
Love
one
that. Love
thing.
that, Karen.
Yeah, dude, I got all the tips. Let me tell you. Okay, Loveck, how much time do I have? I'm conscious that we have 30 minutes left in the session, and we have another video to roll.
And we had a few questions out there that we didn't get to ask for Robert. I mean
Yeah.
for Bobby.
How long is the video?
Can I give him like 2 questions? Okay, just to make I didn't want to cut him off. People were actually asking. So,
Yeah.
Colin Burke asked, "How do you manage latency issues with your video and content?"
Um, I have not ever really had latency problems. There are some circumstances where if you have like a USB camera or a webcam and you're running like direct monitoring with a microphone, kind of like how I have it set up, you can get a little bit of lag there. OBS allows you to compensate for latency. So there's just a little slider. It was a little bit of an advanced topic, so I didn't get into it, but there's plenty of resources like on YouTube that'll go over exactly how to dial in the right latency for your audio so you can sync it to your video. And then once you have that set up, as long as you don't change anything or change your gear too much, that setting is going to work every time for you.
And the other question that someone had, this was from Nick Goldman, I think. He said, "I'm assuming OBS sample rates and DAW sample rates have to be the same. So if your OBS has 44.1 and 48, then your thing has to come out of your DAW the same. You couldn't do it in 96K in your DAW and then pop it into OBS. Would it not be received properly? What do you think?"
That's a good point. I don't know exactly how to do that because it's going to come down to the platform, I think. I know OBS only gave us 48 and 44. There might be some sample rate conversion going on. I'd have to look into that. I can get back to you on that. So I'll follow up with you later on in this session and give you a good answer on that. I can test that out.
Okay, excellent. And I didn't mean to interrupt Karen. So Karen, I let me stop and redirect back to you. We're so excited to hear about Twitch for Musicians. So take it away.
Yeah, sure. So, I wrote a book about Twitch. I did this a year ago, actually. It came out a year ago. So I started writing it almost 2 years ago, before all this pandemic stuff happened, because I discovered Twitch. Generally in my life, I've been live streaming since like 2016, and I've been watching Twitch for a long time. I was kind of blown away that there was this whole music community there. So I wrote a book about Twitch, because it's way more complicated to stream to Twitch than it is any other platform, and it was difficult for me to set up a channel for my client, and that's kind of how I learned. I learned by Googling everything for 2 months. Like I walked so you could run, basically. And I was blown away at how much more hard it was than you now and everything else. So that's why I did that. And I really do think that Twitch is the best place for a DIY musician to build a fan base, or to turn your fans into super fans, or a bit of both. It's very much a music community, and it's very supportive, and it's a lot of fun. And you're not so much like an island. Like, I feel like if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you're sort of like a little island all to yourself, and it's not that way on Twitch. You're in a category full of other musicians who are also streaming. So that's why I wrote it. But I actually do work on every single platform. I do take my clients to Facebook. I do take them to YouTube. I do take them to TikTok and everything. I always ask artists, like, you know, when you're picking a platform, like what are you going to do? Are you going to stream on the regular, right? Where is your audience right now? That's my dog, Loic. He's asking whose dog. My dog is barking. Um, I always ask, like, if you're not going to be a regular streamer, then there's no point in starting on Twitch because all your audience is probably on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. So in that case, just go like where your audience is. If you're going to be an occasional streamer, people will actually show up. But if you're going to be a regular streamer, like I'm telling you, it is worth the time to put into building a channel on Twitch and migrating your people over there. It's way more fun. It's way more interactive. Again, there's a whole community that is very supportive, and you'll meet a bunch of new people and find a bunch of new fans, and it's totally worth it. So, yeah, I mean, I love Twitch, but I don't only work on Twitch. I wanted to talk to you guys about the tools you can use to make your Twitch stream more interactive and more fun. And you're going to do that in the chat, and you're going to do it actually on the screen. And the tools you use for that, you can also actually use on YouTube and Facebook. They were really built for Twitch. But as people have been streaming on Facebook and YouTube, some of those features have been sort of released to those platforms as well. So I won't go too far into which ones you can use on those platforms. Just like you're going to go to those sites, you're going to log in with your YouTube and you'll see what's available. And same thing, you're going to go to that site, you're going to log into with your Facebook, and you'll see what's available. So I'll talk mostly about Twitch. So the two, excuse me, the two platforms that I want you to look into, one is called Stream Elements, and one is called Streamlabs. And they do pretty much the same thing. I call them the Pepsi and Coke of streamer services because they do pretty much the same thing. The difference that I really noticed, I feel like Streamlabs looks better and is a little more popular. And I feel like Stream Elements just has better features, especially if you're going to be working with a team. Like if your team is going to be helping you produce your show live while you're live, absolutely you want to do Stream Elements. There's basically a general overlay that you can add to your, and by the way, an overlay is anything that lays over your video. It's kind of a broad topic, but it's anything that lays over the video. So you can put all kinds of things on top of the video. You can put like alerts. So when somebody subscribes, you get a little like alert on your screen. Somebody follows, a little alert on the screen. You can do like an image as an overlay. A logo is an overlay. You can actually make the emoji in Twitch, which is actually called emotes. You can make them appear on the screen, which is really fun. So when people pop emoji in the screen, then they'll appear. You can do all kinds of fun things to make to bring your sort of your chat, bring it alive onto your screen. And Stream Elements is great because they have an overlay that you can add all this stuff to and add to once as a browser source to your OBS. And then anything that happens in that overlay, whoever of your moderators or admins are on there screwing with it will appear on the screen in real time. So it's really fun that way. Streamlabs is different. You have to add every single element individually. You have to add the alerts as a browser source. You have to add your progress bars, like how many subs do I have as a browser source. Everything is individual when you add it. The only exception is if you use the Streamlabs version of OBS, which is called Streamlabs OBS, then you can add them directly through their version of OBS. But if you're working remotely with people, they're not on your OBS while you're streaming because you're in front of your OBS. They're not in front of your OBS. So if you're going to work with teams, it's really great for that. And it's really fun to do things. And I actually do think Stream Elements has better features in general too. So I'm going to walk you through a few of the main features. And I just want to say that live streaming is really different kind of content creation. You cannot think of it like a Facebook video or a TikTok video or a YouTube video or an Instagram post. That's all like one to many. And live streaming is really about the collective. It's really about the community that happens between you and the people in the chat and between the people in the chat themselves. Like you'll notice that a little family kind of forms with all your fans in the chat. They start to have conversations amongst themselves that have like nothing to do with you. And that is a sign that you are doing a great job at building community and people are there to have fun. People will not come back again and again and again for content, right? Content gets boring. People will come back again and again and again for community. So your goal as a live streamer is to create community around yourself and to help people create community between each other. And these streaming services tools, Streamlabs and Stream Elements, is how you do this. So Twitch doesn't build any of this. Twitch is sort of like YouTube in a way that YouTube is just the place where you put the video, but you got to make the video somewhere else, right? Twitch is kind of the same thing. Twitch is just where the stream is and where the chat is and where your little informational channel page is. But anything you are going to do to create your stream and to make it fun and interactive is a different tool. It's OBS to create it. It's Streamlabs or Stream Elements to make it fun. Streamlabs and Stream Elements have chatbots, but you can also use a separate chatbot called Nightbot. I'm going to stick with Streamlabs and Stream Elements. So the number one thing that you want to create is called an alert. And an alert appears when an event happens. And an event is somebody subscribed to your channel, somebody followed you, somebody made a donation, somebody spent bits. Bits is the virtual currency on Twitch. So if they buy bits and spend bits on you, you can create a notification for that. Streamlabs and Stream Elements also have print-on-demand merch options. So if somebody buys something from your merch store on Streamlabs or Stream Elements, you can create an alert. And alerts are important because alerts acknowledge that somebody did something for you. And it makes them feel good to get acknowledged. Being acknowledged for anything you do for someone feels really good. Like this is why your mother tells you to write thank you notes. So when you do something for someone, you follow them, as the streamer, you want to see that. And the alert helps you see that. And it also acknowledges them to the community. And because they've done something and they've posted it and it's gone to the screen, everybody else sees that, oh, if I follow them, my name will appear on the screen. And this is how we create sort of the back and forth dialogue. This is how people go, oh, I'm actually part of this. I do something and I'm recognized as being, a contributor. And it feels good to be recognized as a contributor. There's a lot of like psychology going on with live streaming. So you're going to use Streamlabs or Stream Elements to create your alerts. And the good thing is you can make them very personalized. You can have, you can upload a little image and you can customize the text, or it can just be text or just the image. It can also be a GIF or a little video that you want to run. And it can have sound or not have sound. So you can really personalize this around your brand, your sense of humor, any of those things. And they're really, really easy to do. The images, they're just PNGs or JPEGs. Like I make a lot of them on Canva. Like they're really simple to do. So those are your alerts. You can also put alerts in the chat. And you can use a chat bot to do that, and they're very easy to program. I won't get into how to do that because it's pretty obvious when you go, it'll just say like add a chat command or add a chat timer. So when you have your alerts set up, when someone subscribes or follows, it'll actually say in the chat, so-and-so just followed, so-and-so just subscribed. And that's also a really great way for them to get acknowledged and for you to notice that something happened. Because when someone does something to help your channel, like subscribe or follow, then you should acknowledge that. Generally, when you're a performer, you are going to play a song and then take a break and talk to the people and then play a song and talk to the people. And a lot of people can't play a song and watch the chat at the same time. So you could be missing a lot of action. So this is another reason why the alerts are so important. You can see it visually and go, oh, mental note, someone did something. When the song is over, I should say something about that. Or you can scroll back in the chat and find something. So that's why that's important. Other kinds of overlays you can do, there's something called an event list, which will show like the 3 or 4 most recent events that happen. Again, events are subscriptions, follows, donations, bits, whatever. That's really important. You can also have things like, top subscriber or top donor or progress bars. I have a goal. I'm trying to reach 50 followers, and here's my progress bar towards that. It encourages people to follow because they want to help you reach your goal. All of those are in Streamlabs and Stream Elements. I find it's very self-explanatory how to use this stuff. But if it's not for you, then I've got a book, and I teach you everything in the book. So those are your overlays. I want to talk also a little bit about emotes. Emotes is what Twitch calls emoji. And emotes are really, really important in the Twitch community because Twitch does not have the universal emoji that you have on Facebook or your mobile keyboard or Instagram or anything. So all those little happy faces you're used to using, not on Twitch. So Twitch has its own set of emotes, and it's very gamer oriented. So if you're not a gamer, like none of this is like, you're not going to know any of these characters. They're not going to mean anything to you. So if you're just there for the music, like it's fairly useless. So when you are an affiliate or a partner with Twitch, which you have to earn your way into, you earn your way into with minimum number of followers, minimum number of hours watched, or sorry, hours streamed, minimum number of days streamed, that sort of thing. It's pretty easy to get to affiliate. That qualifies you to participate in the monetization program. And people can buy bits and spend bits on you, and then you can charge subscriptions for your stream. And when you charge subscriptions for your stream, then you can offer your subscribers custom emotes, which is super fun. So you can, again, they're JPEGs or PNGs. You can make them in Canva. You can make them on Photoshop. They're not complicated. And basically, you can make your own little set of emoji that is custom to your channel. And the kinds of like emotes you're going to want to make are reactive. People want to laugh. They want to applaud. They want to say, wow. They want to dance, like all those sort of positive things. That's things that they want to do. They want to just like vibe, sort of. So if there's something that's sort of, of like I have a dance client, and we have one emote that says yo, and we have one that says vibe, and we have one that says sick, and like that kind of stuff is like really kind of reactive and sort of on point with the brand. And there's also, you can do little inside jokey ones too, and the more that you're going to stream, the more you're going to vibe with your community and have sort of like inside jokes with them. And maybe there's a lyric that people like from one of your songs. Like one of my clients, Megan Lennius, her song goes tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. It's not about the platform, but it goes tick tock, tick tock. So she has a tick and a talk emote, and when she plays that song, everybody just hammers those emotes in there. So anything you can do to kind of get people to use the emotes, get them a reason to use it. And once people subscribe and get that emote, they can actually use them on any channel. So if you have really good emotes, that's sort of like a secret way of promoting yourself. People would be like, oh, that's an awesome emote, and they can actually click it, and then your little a little box will pop up with your channel info, and a subscribe button. So if you make really awesome emotes, people will often just subscribe just because you've got like the emote they want to use. So that's another tool that you can use to sort of personalize. Again, I'm kind of going everything from how do we create community with your audience? How do we have fun with them? How do we acknowledge them? And how do you make that sort of come alive on the screen and come alive in the chat, and give them tools to do that? And sort of once you get your head into this, you'll see how completely different Twitch is from Facebook and YouTube. I just find those servers to be a little bit dry, honestly, compared to what you can do with Streamlabs and Stream Elements on Twitch. How am I doing on time, Loic?
You're doing great. You can just keep on finishing up.
Okay. Okay, fantastic.
I actually have a question. Another question out there for you.
Yeah.
They asked what was the name of your book, but I don't know if you mentioned it. So
yeah,
they'd like to get the books. What's the name of the book out there?
Twitch for Musicians. You can get it at twitchformusicians.com. If you want the PDF, it's on my site. If you prefer print, it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and
Excellent.
pretty much every retailer. But
Awesome.
but yeah, it's $15 on my site. I also have a course too. The course is a bit more, but the course is video tutorials for everything. So if you're not really a book learner, you like to watch videos, then I got about 10 hours of videos for you.
Wow.
And and it's great because you can actually
10 hours, huh? Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot to know about this. Like it's crazy. You can actually do comments in all the sections there, and I will answer them. And then I also do Zoom Q&As for my students. I've got one this weekend coming up, so where I just literally sit there and ask the questions. I answer the questions until there are no more questions. We went for 3 hours one time.
Wow. Wow. I
Yeah.
have another question someone threw out there for you. They said, do you find that Twitch works better for artists that already have a following, or that, you're just trying to build one? Maybe you only got a few followers on your thing and you're trying to build something up.
It
What
works
do you
for
think?
both as long as you're willing to commit to it. If you're not going to commit to it, don't bother. And
Hmm.
to me, committing to it means streaming 3 to 5 days a week, 2 to 4 hours per session. That's a commitment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's how you build. Live streaming is a show up platform. You've got to show up. Just like a social media manager would tell you, if you want to build your Instagram, you got to post to Instagram. You can't just post once a week and think you're going to build. It's not going to work for you. You've got
Sure.
to post content like every day, every other day, whatever it is. It's the same thing on live streaming, but live streaming is not a post. It is a show up and vibe and hang out.
Right.
And the way that Bobby was saying, like the first 3 seconds matter, like Twitch doesn't really matter like that. Twitch is like people are just on for a long time. So it's more of a, you got to think of it like if you're having friends over for beers and music. That's exactly what Twitch is like. It's not like tight content, squeezed down to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. People are there to hang out and with you and with other people in the chat. So it's, yeah.
And,
Good
and
question.
and if you think of it this way, the question would be, like on Facebook or YouTube, you see ads all the time now in between videos. Are there ads in Twitch as well, or are you just
There are,
straight
yeah,
content when you launch
yeah,
almost
there are
the
pre-rolls.
content?
Yeah, there are pre-rolls before you start. If you subscribe to Twitch as a whole, as a platform, which is like, I don't know, maybe $10 a month, and you don't see any ads, but they're all pre-rolls before they start. They are going to start trialing mid-rolls that they will just kind of choose when, which is really ticking off a lot of the creators. Because what
Yeah.
if you're in the middle of a song? What if you're in the middle of a joke? What if you're in the middle of a story? Or,
Right.
like that. Yeah. And you also you can run ads on demand as well. And I think the CPM for you is like 350.
Hmm.
So if you want to do like a 30-second ad break, a 60-second ad break, whatever it is, then you can actually go into your creator dashboard on Twitch and hit the button and it'll roll an ad. I don't recommend that unless you have a lot of viewers, because it's a CPM. It's 350 per 1,000 people who see it. So if you're not even going to hit 1,000 people seeing it, you didn't even make 350. So it's not
Yeah.
really, I don't really to the point. If you're a small streamer, you're not going to make enough money and nobody wants to watch an ad. They want to watch you. But if you need a break, if you need to, like, I gotta go get some more water, then nothing wrong with hitting that 60-second ad and be like, I'll be right back, guys. And that's totally cool to do too. One of
Awesome.
my clients, when she wants to take a break, she actually has another scene she jumps to in OBS that rolls a video, like a little highlight video of like her songs and stuff. And she's like, I'll be right back. And everybody
That's
just kind of, yeah, people just kind of stay and hang out. Oh, another really cool thing to know about Twitch, which is awesome, is they have this thing called a raid. And a raid is when you send everybody watching you right now to somebody else's channel. So, like, when you're done with your stream, it's fun to go find another streamer that you like, that you think your audience would like, and then raid them. And it basically, again, it sends everybody in your chat right now to this next channel all at once. So you're all dumped into this channel all at once. The person who just got rated is notified, so and so just rated me. They're generally like, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sending me all your people. Can I play a song for you? Tell me about yourself. Like, so it's a good way to sort of get in front of their audience a little bit, but it's also just like a really great, supportive thing to do that musicians do for each other on Twitch. And I would advise you, before you start Twitch or in the beginnings when you're doing Twitch, to go watch other streamers. You don't really want to be an island unto yourself on Twitch. You want to be part of the community. So go watch other streamers. Go find streamers that you think you would share audience with, not streamers that are exactly like you. But who do you think you would share audience with? If they rated you, would at least half their audience stick around for an hour? That's the ideal person. That's your tribe. And that's the people you want to raid. And that's the people you want to hang out with when you're not streaming. You never promote yourself in someone else's stream. It's considered to be very rude. You never go into a stream and say, "Hey, I'm going on in an hour." That's also that's like stream sniping. That's what they call that. But you do want to go and be like a genuine part of their community, a genuine fan of what they're doing. I liken this to, if you're an artist and you move to a new city and you want to start playing out in that city, what do? You start going to the clubs, right? You start going to the clubs, you find the clubs where artists like you would play, and then you go hang out and you meet some people. When the band gets off the stage, you go introduce yourself and say, "Hey, I'm new in town." You go meet the booker. Like, that's the kind of stuff you do when you want to get yourself established in a new city. And it's very similar to the stuff you want to do on Twitch. Like, you would never go on someone's stage and say, "Hey, I'm playing across the street in an hour. Here's a flyer." Like, you would not do that. So don't do it in someone else's stream. But go and genuinely support them. Spend time in their streams when you're not streaming, and you will develop these friendships with other streamers, and it's actually really awesome. So that's my advice for building yourself.
That's great. That's great. Great information.
Mm-hmm. Loic has a question about hosting. Hosting is not that big of a deal, honestly. Hosting just means that on your channel, you are showing somebody else's stream. And it's not really, I don't think it's a nice thing to do, but no one's on your channel when you're not streaming, right? No one's just hanging out on your channel because there's nothing to do. Twitch is not like Facebook. There is no newsfeed. There is nothing to read when you're not live. There's no update. The only reason to go to your channel page is when you're live. Or if you just discovered someone and you want to check them out. Like, there's not a lot of traffic on your channel page, I don't think, when you're not live. So hosting is a nice thing to do, but like, if no one's on your channel page looking at your video player to see someone else, it's just not like a big deal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Loic, are you still out there, buddy?
Here we are, the four of
There,
us.
yeah. Look, there's more people coming. Here, people to the party. They're all here. There we go.
This was awesome. I learned so much. And I've been
Twitch is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's like incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Nick has an interesting question. Do we think live streaming is viable for all personality types, extrovert, introvert? It's interesting because, you do have to be on. You are talking to people. But if you're shy, live streaming is kind of nice because you can be in front of a lot of people and not feel like you're in front of a lot of people because you're really just in front of a screen and just watching a chat. So I wouldn't go on Twitch if you don't want to have conversations and if you're not good at making conversation, because you're sort of the leader of what's happening. But I will say it is pretty easy to make conversation on Twitch, especially if people are chatting. You just kind of do a song and then read the chat and respond to what's going on and have a conversation and then go back and do a song. So it's a lot easier than it seems. I started streaming on YouNow because I was fascinated why anybody would pay, people to do basically YouTube content. So I figured I would just try it myself. And I did basically an advice channel because YouNow is all kids. I'm clearly not a child, so I'm not a teenager. I don't want to be the creepy old person on YouNow, so I just did a basically Ask an Adult channel, which was
The creepy old person. I love that.
yeah, right. Like, I'm clearly not a teenager. Like, what? Like, don't you have something more important to do than hang out with teenagers? So I just did basically. I called it Ask an Adult, and the deal was, I'm not an adult in your life. So if anything you want to ask an adult, but don't want to have like any like direct repercussions for, like, you can ask me, and I'll give it my best shot. And like, I would be on for like 2 hours. And like, it would go by so fast. I was on for 4 hours once, and I learned that that's actually the cutoff point. When they may have changed it by now, but that's the cutoff point because they ended my stream at 4 hours. But you just kind of hang out with people, and they'll ask questions or talk amongst themselves. And if you don't have anything to say, play a song. Like, I didn't have a song to play when I had nothing to say. I had to come up with things to say. So it shouldn't be too difficult if you're a songwriter. Oh, people love covers on Twitch, by the way, too. They will not know your originals, so have a nice chunk of covers
nice
to use. And one more little tip, the best tool that I have found, it's not perfect, but it's the best tool out there for managing requests, is called Streamer's Song List, and it's at streamersonglist.com. And I also teach you how to use that. And you can create an overlay on your video that will tell you like what the song queue is, what's next, who requested it, whether they put any money down on it, that sort of thing. And it's sort of a way for people to know like what song's coming up next. Is my request coming up? Who donated? People are donating. Maybe I should donate too. But it's a really great tool for keeping. Here's all the songs that I do. Go and request one. It goes into a queue. You can delete and rearrange and mark things as played. It's super super handy. So that's your tool for managing your requests.
I think I just want to curtail everything we just heard from myself, from Bobby, from you, and put the common thread that live streaming or podcasting is all about connection. It's all about community. If you're not
Mhm.
willing to take the time to connect to someone or figure out what to say or how to say or be able to create that community space to be able to relate to someone, live streaming and podcasting won't work for you because all of it is about reaching someone, right, guys? I mean, it's about connecting to the other person on the other end. So whether you have a message you're trying to get out, or a song you're trying to create, or a business you're trying to sell, it's still about connecting and communication and making that community happen.
It's about being a
So
good
as we've seen
creator.
all the things
It's
in this
not
space, what do
always
you think,
about
guys?
being a good musician. It's about being a good creator.
Yeah, yeah. What
Uh,
do you think, Luke?
I think this is awesome. So a couple of things. We have Lucia asking for a question, so maybe we want to take that question. And you guys, we're gonna hang on another couple of minutes for a few questions, and we wrap it.
Sure.
Before we do the question, I just wanted to let you know that we had Robert sent us a video, and instead of crunching the time for Karen to go through Twitch, what we're going to do is we're going to upload the video as a VOD later today on the webpage so you can watch it at any given time. So Robert's intervention today will still be available a bit later on the website. So look, I will send everybody a notification. Okay. But yeah, Robert will be talking just a bit later on the page. Let's go for the questions and do a couple of questions before we wrap it up.
Okay. Can you see him or me ask?
Yeah, I know I see it. She has a question about streaming music concerts on Facebook. So Facebook doesn't let you stream other people's copyrighted content. If you want to do your own live performance, that's totally fine. Just be careful if you're using backing tracks, and those backing tracks are also in your release songs because sometimes they'll recognize that backing track as a sound recording and not a live performance. But yeah, the whole Facebook thing that came out, but what they don't want you to do, they don't want you to go on there and be a VJ and just play a bunch of videos. They don't want you to go on there and be a DJ and play a bunch of sound recordings because that gets them in trouble with the publishers and the record labels. But if you're going to go and stream and perform live your own material, or actually anybody's material, any live performance is fine. So you're in the clear on that. Just don't yeah, you can't show the Coachella video or something. Yeah.
Nice.
When you stream on one site versus multiple sites, that's a good question. If you're first starting out and you don't know where to stream, it's not a bad idea to multicast across a few and just see which ones work for you. But then eventually I would narrow down to one that works. I have a client that was streaming on Facebook. He's a Americana guy. He's had some hits in the 90s and wrote some huge songs, and he's definitely got a following, and they're all on Facebook. It's an older audience, so they're very Facebooky. And
New term,
I've kind of
Facebooky. I like that.
yeah, I've been migrating him over to Twitch, and he loves Twitch. And the people who are going over there with him also love Twitch. So I would like him to do nothing but Twitch. But I do see that for him, it's valuable to do one show a week on Facebook because some people just aren't going to leave Facebook. There are some people who tried Twitch, didn't like it, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to stream for them too. So for him, he's right now he's doing one day Facebook, one day YouTube, one day Twitch. The more he gets into this, he's going to drop YouTube and probably do one Facebook, two Twitch. And I wouldn't be surprised if someday he dropped Facebook entirely, to be honest. But for him, it works because he has an embedded audience there. But you will do better with that audience if you can migrate them onto Twitch. They will actually spend money on you and have a lot more fun with you. And it takes a minute for them to learn how to use everything. But once they're into it, they get super into it. I've migrated older audiences over to Twitch for my clients, and then I've seen them follow and subscribe and donate to a bunch of other artists on there. And really they kind of get super into all the other, communities. And that's because we rated somebody and they like that stream. And now that they're a big fan of that person too. So they become more of a Twitch user. So, yeah, if you don't know, multicast and see where your audience reacts to you. And if
And
no
Bobby
one's
mentioned an
reacting,
application helps them do it, which is Restream, right, Bobby?
yeah.
Restream IO.
Yeah,
I use
so
that as well.
I've been using restream.io. It's free actually.
Yeah.
So you can do, I think you can do
It's
Facebook.
free unless you want to stream to your Facebook page.
Right.
They
That's
charge
right.
you to
So a
stream to a
personal
Facebook
page is fine.
A profile is free, but if you want to stream to your page, you have to pay. It's not much. It's like, I don't know, $12 a month or something. Like, it's not much.
Yeah, I use it myself. It's a great application. It's super simple. I mean, it walks you through it all the way 100%. So if you're trying to get different platforms at the same time, I think you can go up to 6 platforms at once at the same time, which is amazing. So I definitely suggest Restream for sure.
Yeah, and just to kind of meant to comment more on what Karen was saying, it's definitely a great tool for someone who's just getting started out, who doesn't really know where they're fitting into, the type of content or whatever. So it's good because you get real live statistics from who's on from each of the different platforms. You get all your chats aggregated in so that you can see who's chatting, where the engagement is. And if you see a consistent pattern, it's not a bad idea to then double down, abort the restream multicast thing and just double down on one channel and grow your following that way. And I think what Karen was saying also is that if you have an audience, like for example, I have a lot bigger audience on Facebook, it's super important to funnel them over to the platform that you think is going to be the most engaging and fun for them. And that's a really, really good strategy. And I think if you do Restream, that's like you can use that to help transition everything over. And then other great thing about Twitch is monetization for creators is built into the platform. It's super easy to get started. There's a lot of ways that people can contribute and tell you that you're doing a good job or that you're adding value. So it's a pretty cool thing. So just try it out. The Restream thing is pretty cool. So hopefully that helps someone.
Yeah, I like Restream a lot. It's my multicast of choice.
We have 3 more questions. Can we go through quickly during the live stream and then we wrap this up?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll answer that in a second too. So Ryan, as far as streaming that long, you'll be surprised at how long you can stream and how fast time goes. 2 hours is not that hard to get to because you're going to play a song and then talk to some people and then you're going to play a song and talk. And I mean, in 2 hours, my client might get through 12 songs and that includes covers. So just start, play some stuff. People will join the chat, talk to them, play some stuff, and just see how it goes. Don't feel like, you're not on the way you're on with a YouTube video. You don't need to be entertaining every single second. As far as moderating, Twitch has some good moderation tools for the chat, and Streamlabs and Stream Elements also have some good automated streaming moderation tools to kind of get out spam, offensive words and so forth. And through Twitch, you can put people in timeout for I think it's 10 minutes. And it's really
I didn't know
easy.
that.
You can time someone out of your chat for 10 minutes. So if someone's being a jerk, time them out. If they're super offensive, just block them. I am so strict when it comes to moderation because I don't care about free speech. I care about my community having a good time. And if someone's going to come in here and be a jerk and ruin everyone's good time, then there's the door. And I really feel strongly that good communities require good moderation. So don't feel badly about that. Seriously, I don't care about free speech when it comes to that. You are to be a steward of your community, and part of being a steward of and this goes for anything. Part of being a good steward of your community is good moderation. As far as the OBS thing, OBS is going to give you a lot more flexibility and options of what you can do on your stream than going directly from Facebook or directly from StreamYard or directly from YouTube. You're basically just getting video and maybe a lower third or something through that. But if you do OBS, you can do everything with Streamlabs and Stream Elements. You can't do Streamlabs and Stream Elements with the native streamers on restream Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. So that's why OBS is really important.
Last question.
Transferring an audience from one platform to another, you promote your Twitch on your Facebook, basically. And when you go live on Twitch, you post in that moment to Facebook, I'm live right now. You post to your Instagram, I'm live right now. Here's the link. And hope that people come over, and some will. You tell them ahead of time, you know, this is what we're doing. We're trying out Twitch. And it will take a little while to migrate people over. And then I loved what we're talking about earlier, taking your content from one platform and making content for another platform. So I do this a lot with my clients. And Twitch, by the way, has an actual video editor in the creator dashboard. So you can go to your old streams and you can chop those streams up into little, you know, they call them highlights, and they can be as long as you want. And those highlights live on your Twitch channel in the video section, kind of like a YouTube channel. You can also download them to your computer and then upload them natively to Instagram as a story or as a post, to your Facebook, to your YouTube, or whatever, and say, hey, look at all the fun we had here. Look at this great song we did. Look at this great moment that happened between me and my audience. Come back again Thursday at 5 o'clock. That's when I stream. So you can actually mine your Twitch streams, or actually any stream, for your content calendar on all your other socials. Yeah.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.